What's up everybody, and welcome back. So I still have to set up my recording area after the move, so if this doesn't sound as good, it's because of that. But this manga is just as good, if not better, than last week's. But before that, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. 95% of you aren't, so it would be really helpful if you were. Today though, I'm recommending Momose Akira's First Love is a Failure, which is being written by Harekawa Shinta. It's 7 chapters, and it's a comedy, romance, school life, shonen, slice of life. And if you've ever read or watched Komi Can't Communicate and enjoyed it, then you'll love this. Because this is maybe an even more wild version of that. Because the FMC, Momose Akira, puts all of that nervous energy of Komi into action, which usually leads to the physical harm and terror of the MC, Kugeyama Hajime. So what this story is about is Momose's attempts to get closer to and eventually start dating and get married to Kugeyama. Fortunately, Kugeyama is already in love with Momose, but sees her like a concept of perfection, which she is clearly not. And that, of course, I assume is going to lead to issues with them getting together because he's going to think that she's too good for him, blah blah blah. Hopefully that's not the case, but he's put this girl on the highest pedestal I've ever seen, which if we're talking about adorableness, oh, she's 100% there. The two first met in elementary school, and since then Kugeyama had been in love with her, trying to talk to her and get close to her every day, while Momose ignored him out of shyness. At least that's what it seems like. That's what I hope. Momose though eventually moved away and just moved back as they both entered high school. Kugeyama still wants to get close to Momose, but is afraid that he'll mess it up and she'll hate him. And Momose, like I said, wants to marry him. To accomplish that, she plans each day with a goal to accomplish in getting closer to him, each one ending in a form of success that is never smooth and usually leads Kugeyama to getting hurt or thinking Momose hates him. If you really want to boil this story down, it's about two idiots who are in love with each other that can't express it to save their lives, but at least Momose is trying. But when I say they're idiots, I mean they're idiots. Because even though they met in elementary school, Kugeyama was under the impression that they went to the same school, and Momose is the one who had to reveal it to him in high school that they didn't actually go to the same school. So if you want to know how tragic this story is, we can start there, at the fact that Kugeyama was just talking to Momose, who is actually just a stranger, also in elementary school, who was just trying to walk home to her grandmother's house. Meanwhile, every day, this strange boy is just coming up to her, trying to talk to her. They're a mess, and I love it, because that's honestly the best part of this manga. If it was just Kugeyama being himself, I probably wouldn't continue with it, because he's one of those peak idiot MCs. It's surprising he survived this long, so the real saving grace is Momose, and the fact that the story primarily focuses on the Momose perspective, which is by far the best part of this manga, because she's adorable, and all of the adorable things that have happened have come from her expressions and the reactions to her own screw-ups. Because of her extreme shyness and inability to express herself, especially when things don't go according to plan, which is every time. The first time, she pins him to the ground in terror, which is honestly the most successful she's been so far, but then she follows that up by accidentally kidnapping him, and one time she basically breaks his neck. Fortunately though, or at least fortunately for her, Kugeyama doesn't mind, because to him, Momose can do nothing wrong, which as an unbiased observer is true. That though also basically sums up Kugeyama's character. That is being the most blind and prone to misunderstanding guy you may ever see. It's honestly hard to tell sometimes though if he's a negative character who thinks he's nothing, or if he's a super positive character who always looks for the best interpretation. But at least when it comes to Momose, it's always the misunderstanding negative interpretation. Momose, on the other hand, is a lot like Komi, except she can communicate. At least she has two friends that it seems she can communicate with smoothly. I don't know how smoothly, but much more smoothly than with Kugiyama. And I don't know about other guys, cause the only one we've seen her communicate with is Kugiyama, and that always goes poorly. I'll still chalk it up to her being an extremely shy girl who 100% can't communicate well, seeing as she has to plan her interactions and goals in those interactions with Kugiyama, and as soon as they always don't go according to her plan because of her clumsiness, she freezes up and is unable to speak, and generally ends up running away, which is a very long way to say she's adorable and a genius who's terrible at anything physical, including communication. So far, the manga is still in the one chapter, one story phase, and hasn't become a more linear story where their relationship can really start to grow and develop. It's still more slapstick as of now, but I'm assuming as the story progresses, we'll get to more of a straight story that can develop and build from chapter to chapter, and hopefully during that time, Kugiyama becomes a little less extreme in his overreactions and misunderstandings, while Momose doesn't change because she's perfect. But hopefully they obviously become closer, and at the end, Momose actually succeeds and they start dating and get married. Until then though, I will be reading because I love this manga. It's adorable and fantastic, and everyone should read it. If this seems interesting to you, check it out and like the video. If you're new and watched to the end, might as well subscribe and check out the merch and other recommendations in the Why You Should playlist linked in the description. Other than that, I'll see all of you in the new year.